I'm Laura Bautista, and I am a somatic experiencing practitioner and a certified holistic health coach. And I also hold a certificate as an approved DARE provider, also known as Dynamic Attachment Repatterning Experience. And as a trauma-informed professional with extensive training in functional medicine, epigenetics, energy healing, somatic work, trauma release, attachment theory, and emotional embodiment, what personally and professionally has transformed my work through the biology of trauma is the integration and the completeness that it offers. Despite my 12-year career in holistic health, I was always searching for a missing piece, something crucial to facilitate true, lasting change for my clients and for myself. Dr. Aimie Apigian's framework bridges that gap, specifically addressing the underlying biological components of trauma that keep individuals stuck in survival and freeze responses, which is what most of my clients are going through, at least at some point in their lives. The biology of trauma has become invaluable, not just in my professional practice, but profoundly impactful in my own healing journey, especially going through some pretty dark times a couple years ago. And it has restored not only my health, but has rekindled a profound sense of hope, clarity, and energy that I hadn't believed was possible. The tools Dr. Aimie provides instill a deep confidence in facing life's challenges, fostering resilience and inner peace. And the framework stands apart from everything else because it effectively moves you from feeling helpless and trapped on this hamster wheel of repeated patterns to a place of empowered action and stability and genuine well-being. The number one thing I've gained from the biology of trauma is a profound understanding and experience of true empowerment, transforming feelings of overwhelm and failure into lasting health and fulfilling relationships. And I love it so much.
Welcome, welcome. I am so glad to be here. I don't know if you have seen how many people have registered for this Menopause Unmasked Masterclass series, but it is over 9,000 of you who have registered. So I am so glad that so many have registered. I'm so glad that you're getting this information. This topic is definitely resonating, and I'm so glad to be sharing with you live around safety. Let's talk about safety for a moment. How would you know that your body feels safe? How would you know that your body does not feel safe? I'm going to teach you that there is a background calculation that's happening every second that your body is making about whether it feels safe or under threat. And even though we can look around and say, no, I'm not under threat right now, that is not necessarily what your body believes. And so type into the chat if you feel that your body is feeling safe right now, or is your body giving you signals that it feels under threat right now? I see some comments around safe. My breath tells me that I am feeling safe. Under threat, says others. Some threat, safe, not safe. And let's look at how our body makes this calculation. How does our body make this calculation? It is called neuroception. Now, I'm going to share with you that this is a dashboard of information that your body has. And it gives that information of, do I feel safe or do I not feel safe? Neuroception is the dashboard in our body that tells us, am I safe right now or am I not? What is this dashboard collecting? If you had a dashboard of information, what information might be coming in to tell your body, your nervous system, that you are safe or not? Well, let's look at our energy level. What if we don't have a good energy level today? Is the message on our dashboard going to be one of safety or one of risk, one of threat, one of danger? If your energy is low, what might that tell your nervous system? Your nervous system will say, well, we don't have much energy today, so today we need to do less. If we were to try to do more or try to do our usual amount, we might run into danger. So energy is going to be one of the measurements on our dashboard. What else might be measured? What else might be on our dashboard? Our sense of support. Our sense of someone's got my back. What if we are experiencing some emotions, some memories? What if there are emotions that we haven't felt comfortable feeling in the past? And yet that's what's coming up. The demands of the day, our stomach, our gut health. And this is all what's happening in menopause. So every day, 6,000 women are going into menopause and have no idea the unraveling that is going to happen as a result of these changes in their biology, things that will change their gut health, things that will change their sleep, their energy, their mood. And this is going to change the dashboard or that neuroception and its message of, are we safe or are we not? And so as we look at the dashboard and neuroception, we can see that our perception of our capacity is going to change. Given the hormones, given the energy, given the mitochondria, given our gut health, our sense of our capacity is going to change. And this is why so much of the unraveling starts to happen. Let's take a moment and reflect on the emotional aspect of the unraveling. In what way have you noticed that either yourself in menopause or if you're a practitioner here, what way have you noticed that the emotional unraveling is happening with these inner changes in our biology? Go ahead and share in the chat. What evidence of emotional unraveling have you seen for what can happen? And we're losing our sense of safety. There's a sense of anxiousness. There's a sense of being misunderstood with the emotional unraveling. There's more grief that's coming out. We don't feel ourselves. We feel angry. We feel irritable. Feel like I can't cope with these emotions. The depression comes back. There's a sense of anxiety, even when there's no active threat. We wake up crying. We're more impatient with people. And that hasn't been who we have been before. There's more sense of restlessness, just inner jittery, nervous anxiety. And those emotions are going to help us feel that we are unraveling, and unraveling is losing a sense of safety. We're starting to lose our sense of safety. We can start to feel overwhelmed. We can start to feel like we're flooded. This is a loss of sense of safety. When was the first time in your life that you remember a loss of a sense of safety? When was the first time in your life that you remember feeling a loss of your sense of safety? For most of us, it was childhood. For most of us, that first sense of I'm not safe happened very young. It didn't wait until adulthood. It was very young. Some of you are even noticing it may have started in utero, that young. And so when we look at that initial loss of sense of safety, of course, it's going to have an impact on our body. And of course, it would have created an inner sense of, I don't know if I am safe for many years, sometimes decades. As you look back on your life, or if you're a practitioner, the people that you help, how long have you lived with a sense of, I'm trying, I'm doing my best, and I don't exactly feel safe though. I don't feel perfectly safe. There's a sense of anxiety of, I don't know if I'm going to be okay. I don't know if life is going to be okay. I'm waiting for the next shoe to drop. That's a very common feeling that people express. And then that just unravels during menopause. Some of us can have felt unsafe for so long, we don't know what different would feel like. We don't know what it would actually feel like to feel safe. And yet this is exactly what we need. And let me share with you what happens with this dashboard that's called our neuroception. Before we do that, I want to bring your attention to the worksheet that we have. We have a worksheet, and I just want to bring that to your attention in case you would want to follow along. So let me share where that worksheet is for you. And I'm going to share my screen and show you inside of our platform for this Masterclass series. And we are on day 3 right now. We've already had day 1 with Dr. Vincent Folletti as our guest. And we learned about how our childhood does show up in our adult health. And then we had day 2 yesterday. We had another guest speaker yesterday. That was Dr. Betty Murray. And we went all into hormones and the different levels and what they mean and who can benefit from bioidenticals and who would not. And each day you've had a worksheet. And so let's come to day 3 worksheet. So if my team can drop the link for how people would access day 3, and that way they can grab this worksheet if they want. So you're going to come to day 3, and day 3, we have a guest today with Gabor Mate, and that will be a masterclass that you can watch on your own time. And I will post this replay as soon as it's available. But let's go to our day 3 worksheet. And here you can access the day 3 worksheet, open that up, and you can follow along. So part 1 will be the webinar that you'll have with Gabor Mate. And this is our live masterclass here. And you can follow along. And what we've covered already is the simple subconscious decision that drives our responses. And that was the neuroception. Neuroception is the subconscious decision. But what is it actually measuring in that dashboard? That's what I want to go over with you right now. So when we look at the dashboard, it's measuring our capacity against the size of danger. Our capacity against the size of danger. What does that mean? That means that either we will have the sense that my capacity is full, if you want to call it my tank is full. And that means that I have all the capacity, the energy, the skills for whatever demands are placed on me. Sometimes those demands will be challenges. Sometimes those demands will be stress. Sometimes those demands will be joy. And here we have it right in the middle. Sometimes these demands are emotions. And we've just talked about the emotions. But what if our capacity feels small? If this is you, type me into the chat. If you can relate to your capacity feeling so small compared to the responsibilities that are placed on you. And when there is this gap is where the trauma response will happen. This gap, and I'll just type it right here, this gap creates the trauma biology. This gap is what creates the trauma biology. I'm curious, for those of you who've been following along for each day, are you getting a sense of your own biology of trauma that you hold underneath the surface? Type yes into the chat if you are recognizing, wow, I am learning that I actually have more of a biology of trauma than what I recognized. And coming back to this idea, this is one of the most important concepts that I want to share with you. That's why I go into so much detail in it in my book. Trauma lies in the gap. When there is a gap between my capacity and the sense of danger, I am not going to feel safe. Let me just type that here. I am not feeling safe. I'm even going to put that into a different color so we can clearly see that. I am not feeling safe. And there's no way for us to feel safe when it feels like my capacity is less than what I need to get done. And when we don't feel safe, I think that you can type this into the chat now. When we don't feel safe, what happens in our biology? When we don't feel safe, this is not just emotions. This is not just a thought that we will have. Type into the chat what you think I'm going to say is what happens in our biology when we don't feel safe. If trauma lies in the gap, this is where trauma biology happens. Trauma biology happens when we don't feel safe. And so what does that mean for you? In your, when you registered for this Masterclass series, I gave you an assessment to fill out. Let's look at that assessment, because when you have a biology of trauma, this is what it will look like. And when I show this initial assessment to you, I'll be curious if you remember filling this out. If you filled this out, say, yes, I filled this out. I asked you to track where you're starting from so you can follow your progress. And I asked you to check all that apply. I'm going to make this larger so that we can read it. I know you don't have to tell me that you don't like to try to read small things. I know this. So let's look at how we would recognize we have a biology of trauma. My body feels like it's betraying me. If this is what you have felt like at times, type betray into the chat. My body feels like it's betraying me. For me, my experience was feeling like my body couldn't keep up with what I wanted to do. I felt like my body even couldn't keep up with the trauma healing that I wanted to do. I would go to therapy. I was doing my best, and my body felt like it couldn't keep up. So my body felt like it was betraying me. Look at all of those comments in the chat. This is resonating. What about the second one? Number 2, nothing I try seems to help anymore. This is a key aspect of a biology of trauma that compounds over time. At first, we can compensate, and then menopause happens. And our body says, I can't compensate for this anymore. This is now too much, and nothing that you try will seem to help anymore like it used to. In fact, I want you to think of, what did you used to be able to do that would help? And now it doesn't. We even saw some of that in yesterday's live webinar. For some of you, things like different supplements used to help, and now they don't. For some of you, going outside for a walk used to help, and now it doesn't even help. Now you still have that anxiety when you come back inside from a walk. Before, sleep used to help, and now you can't even get a good night's sleep. So that doesn't seem to help anymore. Is this resonating with anybody? Nothing I try seems to help anymore. Look at those comments. Let's look at the sensitivity. I'm more sensitive to everything. Oh, if this has been your experience, type sensitive into the chat. I'm more sensitive to everything. This is because of the hormone changes. We talked about this in yesterday's live webinar with Dr. Betty Murray. The decrease in estrogen makes us more sensitive. Estrogen is protecting our nervous system. And with that decrease in activity and the levels, we are more sensitive, and this makes us more irritable. This makes us less patient. This makes us less able to tolerate things that people do around us, like making noises, chewing with their mouth open, all of these things that they've done forever, but now we are more sensitive. They haven't changed at all. We have changed. Let's keep going. My old coping strategies stopped working. I feel like I'm falling apart. Oh, I don't recognize myself anymore. Oh, and the next one is a big one. I don't like myself anymore. I don't like myself anymore. Look at this. This is how we know that we have a biology of trauma. You don't have to do all these lab tests. You can, but a biology of trauma shows up in our daily life. It shows up in our responses. It shows up in our emotions. It shows up in the changes and how we cope with change. So let's talk about coping with change for a moment. We've always had change. Change is part of life. But how has your ability to gracefully cope with change during menopause? How has your body changed in its ability to navigate grief, loss, things that you need to pivot and adjust because now there's new information? And this is all evidence of a biology of trauma. When we have a biology of safety, change feels manageable. Change feels doable. Change feels oftentimes good. But when we have a biology of trauma, change will be scary. We don't know if we can keep up with the change. We don't know if we have enough energy for the change. So we end up starting to make our life smaller. I see Kate mentioning in the chat that I say no a lot. We often will need to make our life smaller in order to protect ourselves from having to have all of this change that we're exposed to. Information, sensory information even, the lights, the sounds, things that are touching us. Sometimes our skin can be more sensitive. All of this is a stress for our nervous system. And so going back to this idea that we have an inner capacity, and this inner capacity is going to start to feel like it's smaller than the demands on us. So what if we change this word danger and we just said the word change? Now we can see clearly, you're right. The sense of my capacity is so much smaller than the change that I'm being asked to make. What if we add in here grief? Because now we're entering the phase of our life where we might be receiving new health diagnoses. And there's a grief with that. There's a grief with recognizing that we're not as young as we used to be, perhaps, or that there's a major transition in our life. Transition or change is going to bring up grief, grief that we have unresolved and unprocessed. So change and grief, when we match up our capacity against change and grief, we see that it's too much. And again, going back to this, then we don't feel safe. I cannot feel safe when the amount of grief and change that is being placed on me is more than my capacity. And yet, this is where we come into the trauma biology. And so let me share this concept with you of why the body holds on. That lack of completion, or let's just say lack of safety, now creates, let's say, the biology of trauma. Biology of trauma. But that same biology of trauma is going to keep us stuck. And this is what we see in menopause. So in the chapter 1 of my book, I walk you through these 5 steps of the body's trauma response. And what you need to know is that when a person enters menopause and their inner biology is changing, this line of the critical line of overwhelm is going to move to the left. It's going to move over and make it easier to cross. We reach this line sooner, or we reach overwhelm sooner. Going back to our dashboard shows us that we don't have as much fuel in the tank. We don't have as much oil in the engine. And so that means that we reach our critical line of overwhelm sooner, and we are going into this sense of, I don't have the capacity, earlier than what we used to be able to do. We used to be able to keep up with this. We used to be able to keep up with the demands on us. And by this, I mean, well, what did we used to use? I mean, I'll be honest with you. I used to use caffeine. I will use caffeine to have a sense of greater capacity. But is caffeine one of those things that no longer your body is able to do? And going back to our assessment that we had earlier, that where we were looking at the assessment, my old coping strategies don't work as well. The caffeine, it just doesn't allow me to push through like it used to give me that. And this is why. Because we're exhausted. Everything now feels overwhelming. Even if I've done a lot of therapy in the past. If you've been one who's done a lot of therapy in the past, go ahead and type therapy in the chat. If you've been one who's done a lot of therapy in the past, type therapy into the chat. And notice, for those looking at the chat, it doesn't change the fact that the inner changes that happen in our biology unravels a biology of trauma. So now I'm going to come and I'm going to click the bottom one. I know for sure my body has a biology of trauma. If this is you, type yes into the chat. I know for sure my body has a biology of trauma because I can see the evidence of it. I can see the patterns of responses. I can see the overwhelm. I can see the sensitivity. I can see that the coping strategies haven't worked as well, and it was only a matter of time before it was going to catch up. So let's pause right there for a moment. This has already been a lot. This has already been perhaps bringing up some grief of recognizing the impact of chronic trauma that we've been living with. that our body's been having to cope with. And it can bring up a sense of grief. It can bring in that sense of heaviness. Type in the chat what you're noticing and feeling right now. Would you use the word grief? Would you use the word heaviness? Would you use the word understood? Relief to understand what's been happening. Feel sad, feel crushed, feel confused. Yeah. Feel a lot of compassion. And if this is where we are, what is the next step? Where do we go from here? Do we stay feeling helpless? Do we stay feeling overwhelmed? Do we stay with the grief? Where do we go from here? Where we go from here is learning how to create a biology of safety. Learning how to create the safety. Because if feeling not safe is what is perpetuating our biology of trauma, then let's change this, because that's how we change the equation. That's how we change this equation. And now we're going to come up and be able to say, my current capacity is full because I feel safe. And I'm going to add this term, safe enough, because that's all that we need. Safe enough. I can work with that. I might not be able to work with just safe. That feels like it might be too much for me. But if I just need to be safe enough as my first step, I can do that. Now, that's not going to be enough, and I don't want to give you the impression that that will be all, because there are 3 phases to the healing journey. But today, I just want to cover the first step. We're already in overwhelm, so let's just cover the first step. The first step is saying, I want to learn to feel safe enough. I want to learn. I don't want to stay stuck. Staying stuck will keep me here. Not safe equals stuck. Which one do you want? Do you want stuck or do you want safe? Type that in the chat. Do you want stuck? Stuck with a low capacity? Stuck not feeling safe? Stuck with a trauma biology? Or do you want safe? Safe enough? Just safe enough. And this is how we create change in our life. This is how we create the safety for the unraveling. If you're following along in your worksheet, I want to go over this answer right now. Having a biology of trauma means that things inside of us, our own biology, can create trauma responses. The other word for trauma responses is overwhelm. And so our own biology, what is inside of us, can create overwhelm. Our own emotions can create overwhelm. That's inside of us. And what about our own thoughts, our own self-criticism, self-judgment, self-shaming? Those are all things that are inside of us that create overwhelm. It's not just what happens outside of us, it's what happens inside of us, which is why we can then learn to create inner safety, and that be what starts to change our biology of trauma. If what is inside me is creating a sense of unsafe, is creating a sense of overwhelm, well, then I can learn to change what is inside of me. If it were something happening outside of me, well, I might not have control over that. But I do have control over me. I do have control over what's inside of me. And that is the beauty of what is possible. The beauty of what is possible. So again, let's continue to go through our assessment here, because I want to share with you 5 phrases that for me have been so impactful. 5 phrases, and you're going to recognize some of them because, well, I've already shared one of them with you around this idea of being safe enough. But we can create a sense of safe enough right here, right now, with some key phrases. You want to know my phrases that I use? You want to know my phrases? Type phrases into the chat. These are my 5 safety phrases. This was what I started with before I even knew how to repair the biology of trauma, like I go over in my book. I knew that I needed to change some of the phrases that I was telling myself when I had a trigger. And so here are my phrases. Let me share them with you. It starts with saying, I am safe. I have a trigger. I have a feeling of anxiety. I'm going to come and I'm going to start with, I am safe. And then I'm going to say, there is nothing I need to do about this right now. There's nothing I need to do about this right now. It's not an emergency. Things are happening. Things are unraveling. There's nothing I need to do about this right now. If just that would be helpful for you, it feels helpful to hear that. Type helpful into the chat. There is nothing I need to do about this right now. There is nothing I need to do about this right now. And let's look at the next one, because this one was really important for me. It's okay to feel this. I had spent so much of my life numbing my feelings, avoiding my feelings, because it didn't feel like it was okay for this to surface right now. And so I did so much stuffing of my feelings. And then I said, well, that's not going to create a sense of safety. What's going to create a sense of safety is for me to say, well, I am safe. There's no one attacking me right now. And there's actually nothing I need to do about this right now. And it's okay for me to feel this. And when I started allowing it to be okay, when I started giving myself permission to allow a feeling to surface and for me not to have to fix it right now, well, then it started to chill out me. It started to allow the ability for me to say, sure, I'm okay to feel some sadness right now and not have to feel like I need to stuff it, not feel like I need to distract myself from it, not feel like I have to avoid it. It's just a feeling. And I give myself permission. I give myself permission. What if you were to give yourself permission? What would you want to give yourself permission to feel and not have to fix right now, but just to allow it to be there? What would you want to give yourself permission to start to feel? Give yourself permission to feel. And then the sentence that I would go to next was, I am safe enough. So giving myself permission to feel it and then reminding myself, I can feel it and I am safe enough. Now, many of you have noticed that I didn't put all 5 on this sheet because I have one more to add. And what I started to add Before I am safe is my number one. Let me see if I can change those numbers. I'm not sure that I can. Nope, it's not going to let me. So it's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but you're going to know it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I started inserting this one first. This feeling is just information. This feeling is just information. This feeling is just information. It allowed me to put some distance between this feeling and me, because up until that point, it was me. I'm feeling anxious. I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling lonely. I'm feeling angry. And it was me. It was all of me, until I could put some distance and I could say, you know what? This is a feeling, and this feeling is just information, which means that, and let me go through the rest of them now, because now with that context, the flow was much better for me. This feeling is just information. And I can see that right here, right now, I am safe. And you know, this is just information. There's nothing I need to do about this right now to fix this. This information is not an emergency. And that's why it's okay to feel this. It's okay to feel this. If you want to bring in the other language, I will often say, I give myself permission to feel this, because it's just information. And then being able to return to, if this is just information and I can give myself permission to feel, well, then I am safe enough right here, right now. This feeling is just information. As I look around, I am actually safe right now. And so there's nothing I need to do about this right now. And I can give myself permission to let this feeling be here and not have to fix it, not have to make it go away. Because maybe, just maybe, there's valuable information in this feeling for me. Maybe, just maybe, this feeling is part of the unraveling that I want to allow, because I have put so many constructs and safeguards and walls in my life, and that's not my true self. In order for my true self to shine, to come out, those things will need to be unraveled. And so I can allow this feeling. It's just information. It might even be helpful for the unraveling that I actually want to have happen in my life. I want to become my more authentic self. And to become my more authentic self, I am going to remind myself that right here, right now, I am safe enough. I am safe enough. Oh, but I'm feeling angry. Yes, and I'm safe enough and can allow myself to feel angry. I don't have to take it out on anyone else. And in fact, when I give myself permission to feel something, I'm less likely to dump it on someone else. Dumping it on someone else is me trying to not feel it. I don't want to feel this way, so let me say something, let me do something, let me put it on you, let me make this your problem. When actually, if I give myself permission to feel angry and not even know why. And I don't need to know why right now because it's not an emergency. But there's something happening. There's something happening underneath the surface. It's information about what is happening underneath the surface. It's not an emergency. It's just information. And when we do that, even just as I'm sharing this with you, I notice my shoulders coming down. I notice there being a sense of relaxation of, oh, that's right. I don't have to fight my feelings. I can allow them, even if I don't understand them, I can allow them and allow them to be information about what is something that's unraveling underneath the surface that maybe, just maybe, will help me become my more authentic self. And that for me is what the message of the biology of trauma is. It's a message of what's been holding you back and how to remove those blocks. Why is safety the first step? And how do we even create safety? How do I repair what has been broken? My immune system may have been broken. I developed autoimmunity, so my immune system was definitely broken. I needed to repair my immune system. Why? Well, if I want to create inner safety, I can't have all of this inflammation attacking my own cells. That is not safety. That is danger. My immune system needs repair. What about my metabolism, my thyroid, my adrenal glands, my hormones? They all just need repair. That's all. They were hit hard. They've held a lot. They got broken in the process. But we can repair broken things. In fact, we can take broken pieces and make masterpieces. We can take broken pieces and make masterpieces. That's the hope that I want to give you. Menopause is a time when we can take those broken pieces and we can make masterpieces, become masterpieces, actually step into what can be the most empowered stage of our life. We don't have to stay broken. We don't have to live with all these broken pieces and stay stuck and hopeless. The unraveling can lead us to what has been broken, for us to see what has been broken, and then to take those pieces and repair them. Repair them. And be able to live a more authentic life that we've ever lived before, because we've only lived with broken pieces up until now. And so the changes that happen during menopause, it is an unraveling. Menopause and the changes are an unraveling. And the more biology of trauma that you've had prior to menopause, the harder this unraveling will be, because it's surfacing all of this brokenness that you've been compensating for. And the unraveling then can lead in one of two paths, and you get to decide which one. The unraveling can lead to more brokenness. It can lead to falling apart, because that is what unraveling will lead to. It can lead to more grief, more stuckness. For many, more hopelessness. Because now we're just feeling like the best of our life is already over and we're just waiting for the end. I'm just getting by. I'm just going through the motions. Or the second option for that unraveling is, let me unravel the safeguards, the control, the defenses that I've put up. Because when those unravel, what shines through is what's truly inside, is what is truly our best self. That is what is possible with the unraveling. And it's up to you. It's up to you. And if you want to learn this biology of trauma, if you want to learn how did I get here, what do I need to do, what is this repair of all of these pieces, then that's where I am inviting you to purchase this Masterclass book bundle. You'll get a book with this bundle. You'll get a hard copy if you are in the US, or you can give me a US mailing address. If you're international, you'll get a digital copy. You'll get to keep all of this Masterclass series. You'll be able to rewatch everything that we've covered in days 1, 2, and now 3. And you'll be able to get the biology or the hormone lab interpretation guide and course that Dr. Betty put together. So let me again show you that if this is what you're wanting to have the unraveling lead to your best life, then I've put together a way for you to keep these resources. And you will be keeping ongoing access to this whole Menopause Unmasked Masterclass series. You'll be keeping all of day 3. You'll be able to watch day 3 today, so you'll get a sense of all that's included here. You'll be able to go back and watch all of day 1, including doing the assessments, the worksheet, and the 2 masterclasses that we had. You'll be able to get access to all of day 2. Again, the 2 masterclasses that we had, one on the hormones, the other on the brain chemistry and how your food cravings reveal your body's survival story. And then the hormone interpretation guide. So if you have labs and you want to know what do the labs mean, there's a guide and a course. And then I will be giving you a copy of the book. The way that you do this is you click here. So here on the sidebar, you see the book bundle. This is everything that's making it easy for you to purchase this Masterclass book bundle. Now, because this is this Masterclass book bundle, I need you to purchase this while this Masterclass series is happening. Once it's over, this specific bundle will go away. And so you're going to be able to come and you're going to be able to get a copy of the book. And you're going to have ongoing access to everything in this Masterclass series. I say own it all and keep it all. I'm also going to be giving you my 5-day nervous system reset. These are 5 somatic exercises from my full foundational journey, but I've distilled it down into here's a place to start with creating that inner safety through somatic exercises. Going to get you membership into the Insider Circle where I have monthly live book readings. The next one is happening next week, a week from today, in fact. And so you can get into that monthly book reading with me. And then I have a Biology of Trauma book masterclass that you'll be able to watch. And it goes through the concepts from each chapter so you can start to look at those. Many of you know that Gabor Mate wrote the foreword to my book. And he says few other works combined, such as this book does, personal history, rigorous medical education, psychological penetration, scientific investigation, and clinical experience in guiding many others to healing. Peter Levine, many of you know him from being the founder of Somatic Experiencing, says in The Biology of Trauma, Dr. Pigian leads the reader, whether physicians, therapists, other healers, or laypersons, on a road of discovery and healing. I think this for me is really the essence of the book for me, is that it gives you practical knowledge and skills to navigate challenges, conflict, and even those buried childhood experiences. Again, my team can drop the link for this page specifically, so you can just purchase this now, and that way not worry about having to remember to do it later, because it will expire today, since today is our last day for this masterclass series. You can see the other endorsements that have come in, from therapists to health university and medical university presidents, Jeff Bland, grandfather of functional medicine, Dr. Tom O'Brien, one of the founders of, I want to say, the functional medicine movement. And it's been an honor, and I'm very humbled, honestly, for their endorsement. The book is structured to be guiding you through the manual for your nervous system. How does it work? How does it experience trauma? How does it survive trauma down to the cellular level? That is section 1 of the book. Section 2 is, why did your body develop this biology of trauma? Why does it hold on and develop a biology of trauma? And then section 3 is what we've started to talk about, how to repair what's been broken, and approaching the healing journey with tools, intention, and precision. That allows us to accelerate the healing journey. On this page, I have laid out the details of what is in each chapter and section of the book. So you can come and you can see all that you will read. Chapter 11 is one of my favorite chapters because it goes into attachment and how that creates our pre-existing filter. But you can see that I go over the critical line, capacity, and the gap. I go over how we survive powerlessness. How do we survive powerlessness and those moments when we felt truly powerless? Why the body holds on, how a biology of trauma is formed, how to recognize patterns of buried pain. It's all in this book. I lay it all out so that then section 3 will make perfect sense about the science of healing and giving you the map and the framework for the healing journey. So in fact, I'm going to ask my team if you can prepare the video again that we watched at the beginning. Laura Bautista had a very beautiful share on how this framework, this lens, transformed her own journey, but also her practice. While they're getting that video ready, I'll just again review what all is included with this specific Masterclass book bundle. This Masterclass is going to give you the 6 Masterclasses with this Menopause Masterclass series. You may have purchased another Masterclass series of mine in the past. This bundle will give you this specific Masterclass series, all of the worksheets, the assessments, the hormone labs, interpretation, and guide. And I want to make sure that you saw that in each day there is assessment. So we had an initial assessment, and then for each day, day 3, you're going to do this assessment. So the menopause post-assessment, I have that here. So each day I'm guiding you through this process of here's what I would want you to be learning for each day. Day 1 also had an assessment as well as a worksheet to cover those 2 masterclasses, and day 2 has an assessment as well. Going back to the bundle, this is what you get. Now, can you order the book off of Amazon? Absolutely. And I'm going to pop down here into the frequently asked questions. And here I have it. Can I just pre-order the book and not get the bundle? Yes, you can. In fact, you can come here, and I've even got the link right here for you to go purchase the book on Amazon if this is where you want to purchase the book. Here it is. You can purchase the book. You don't have to purchase the bundle. This bundle is just if you want all of this, if you want this masterclass series, if you want the worksheets, the assessments, the hormone lab interpretation guide and course. this is where you would come to be able to get the book and the bundle for the price that it will cost me to send you the book. If you want Amazon to send you the book, hey, go for it. In fact, they're having a sale right now for $20. Amazon can send you the book. And if you want me to send you the book and for you to be able to get these other things, then that is why, for me, it costs actually more money than it does for Amazon to send you my book. So get the book and bundle. The price for this is $36 for you to get all of this, the whole Menopause Masterclass book bundle with the 6 masterclasses and the worksheets all included. With that, I am, going to ask my team to play the video, and I want you to listen for how it would relate to you to be able to have a framework and a lens for navigating your nervous system and creating safety. I think we're ready for the video.
I'm Laura Bautista, and I am a somatic experiencing practitioner and a certified holistic health coach. And I also hold a certificate as an approved DARE provider, also known as Dynamic Attachment Repatterning Experience. And as a trauma-informed professional with extensive training in functional medicine, epigenetics, energy healing, somatic work, trauma release, attachment theory, and emotional embodiment, what personally and professionally has transformed my work through the biology of trauma is the integration and the completeness that it offers. Despite my 12-year career in holistic health, I was always searching for a missing piece, something crucial to facilitate true, lasting change for my clients and for myself. Dr. Aimie Apigian's framework bridges that gap, specifically addressing the underlying biological components of trauma that keep individuals stuck in survival and freeze responses, which is what most of my clients are going through, at least at some point in their lives. The biology of trauma has become invaluable, not just in my professional practice, but profoundly impactful in my own healing journey, especially going through some pretty dark times a couple years ago. And it has restored not only my health, but has rekindled a profound sense of hope, clarity, and energy that I hadn't believed was possible. The tools Dr. Aimie provides instill a deep confidence in facing life's challenges, fostering resilience and inner peace. And the framework stands apart from everything else because it effectively moves you from feeling helpless and trapped on this hamster wheel of repeated patterns to a place of empowered action and stability and genuine well-being. The number one thing I've gained from the biology of trauma is a profound understanding and experience of true empowerment, transforming feelings of overwhelm and failure into lasting health and fulfilling relationships. And I love it so much.
So for me, the hope is so valuable. So as we close today, I want to let you know that inside of the assessments is where you can actually share any questions that you might have for me. And let me show you where you find that. So in the assessment for today, for example, here it is. One question I'd ask Dr. Aimie, please fill this out. I want to know what your questions are. I want to be able to answer your questions. And so I hope that you will be coming in and filling this assessment out for day three. Day three, as you go through day three, come and do this assessment. One question I'd ask Dr. Aimie. And don't forget that for day three, we also have the masterclass with Gabor Mate that you can watch at any time today. All of this is open until it closes, which is midnight Pacific. And then once it closes, the offer closes as well to be able to get all of this masterclass content along with your purchase of the book. With that, I want to thank you so much for being here. I take it very, very seriously that you have decided to show up with me live. And I see a question on the fulfillment of the book. Yes, the book is released September 23. And so whether it's the hardcover copy, the digital copy, after September 23 is when you will actually get the book itself. In the meantime, You're getting the Masterclass series. You're getting the hormone interpretation guide and course, and you have that content to lean into. Thank you so much. I want to share so much love and hope with you. And I look forward to popping in later throughout the day, reading your comments as you watch the webinar with Gabor Mate and you do the assessment. I really enjoy your comments, and so encourage you to do that. I see Lena saying we won't be starving until September 23. No, Lena, there's no starvation here. You have plenty of content to dig into, and then you can look forward to receiving the book on that week of September 23.